This is St Monans, a tiny village on the east coast of Scotland. My name is Kat and this is my husband Peter. And then of course there's Bria, my in-laws dog. She's just along for the ride. Scotland isn't all tartans and glens, so I wanted to share with you some slightly different Scottish landscapes and culture than perhaps stereotypically portrayed. So come join us on this dreamy week in the East Neuk of Fife. Enjoy the charming scenes and perhaps learn something new. This traditional Scottish fishing village nestles into a cove of extinct volcano roots, a legacy of fire and ice that remain to this day. St Monans is guarded by the iconic 1369 church, rebuilt by King David II and named after martyred Christian missionary Monan of the 6th century. The closest to the sea of any church building in Scotland, it looks out to a view of the ethereal Isle of May. So we arrived in St Monans on the summer solstice, which is a very magical time of year to go anywhere in Scotland, of course. And in the evening I decided to go for a walk by the harbour, which is a very picturesque and quaint part of St Monans. As I walked along, I decided to stop by the East Pier Smokehouse and stand and look out to the sea for a little bit. And I was just lost in my thoughts, just pondering, thinking and praying a little bit, when all of a sudden I heard this big boom and a splash, and lo and behold I saw a dolphin come splashing out of the water in a big arc and back into the water, and then another one, and then another one, and then it turned out that there were about maybe half a dozen of them. It was like a pod, I think that's what you call a group of dolphins. I knew that there were dolphins on the east coast and I've often looked for them whenever we've come, but I've never seen them. And then this time, when I wasn't even looking for them, on the summer solstice of all times, there they were. So that was a wonderful start to what I think will be a very special time here. The sun rises at around 4 AM in the summertime, but we tended to get up at 7, usually woken by Bria, to begin the day with a swim in a tidal pool. These outdoor tidal pools are scattered along the East Neuk of Fife, carved into the coastal rock face. Once fallen into disrepair, they are now restored for free use by the local community. This is a very craggy part of the Scottish coast, and I've always been quite afraid of the ocean, so it was lovely to swim wild but safely. Poor Bria didn't quite agree, however, no matter how hard we tried to teach her to swim. Once upon a rainy ramble, we discovered that wild swimming here is a long-held tradition. This is the Ladies' Tower, built upon Ruby Bay for the bonny daughter of a wealthy Scottish merchant. There is a cave upon the beach under the tower where she would prepare to go swimming. Apparently a bell would be rung in the nearby town of Ely to let the townsfolk know she was swimming so that she wouldn't be disturbed. It's so beautiful to me that throughout the whole of human history, it's the same kind of activities that human beings continue to enjoy. The poet Ralph Waldo Emerson advises us to live in the sunshine, swim the sea, and drink the wild air. While there's no guarantee to living in the sunshine while in Scotland, there is certainly an abundance of sea and wild air. After the lady's swim, she would return to the tower to relax and watch the world go by. Personally, I would return home for a steaming hot bath. After swimming, we would go on long walks, sometimes in one direction, sometimes in the other, but always along the enchanting Fife coastal path. Besides a wee corner shop, St Monans doesn't have much in the way of a store, so I had to walk some distance to pick up groceries. Thankfully, we were surrounded by farmland though, so we frequented local farm shops for ingredients, many of which had been picked fresh that very morning. On the way stand the ruins of Newark Castle, now only a remnant of its 15th century glory, but still very impressive all the same. That was not the cheapest shop that I've ever done in my life, but it's really nice quality, so that's something. Between the sea and the land, we enjoyed a wholesome diet of organic produce and fresh seafood. Walking the coastal path in the opposite direction, you'll soon stumble upon an old windmill. This was used as part of the salt production industry. You can still wander the ruins of the salt pans and occasionally view the inside of the windmill. This old industry site is right by the tidal pool, divided by a coastal path that leads to the village of Pittenweem. As the closest village, the walk there was one of our most frequent and recalled memories of an art festival we attended there several years ago. This is an annual festival where half the village open their homes to be transformed into art galleries. Though I must confess that our favourite part was seeing the inside of such quaint historic houses. One of the oldest pieces of history here, however, is St Fillan's Cave, which was home to the missionary St Fillan in the 7th century. Incidentally, it is also the namesake of the village, as Pittenweem means place of the cave in Gaelic. After all this adventuring, we would return home to rest. I would perhaps do some yoga, but more likely read or journal. And then, gazing out to the dreamy sea view, I might, on occasion, fall fast asleep. Good morning, or should I say good afternoon. I've just woken up from the most wonderful nap. Oh, I feel really good. I had a swim in the sea in the morning, and then Peter and I went for brunch together at a lovely cafe called the Giddy Gannet. And then I was just lying down here on the bed, watching the sea, started to journal, and I just became so overcome. Oh, excuse me, with sleepiness. And I fell asleep. There is something so wonderful about that kind of an afternoon nap when you're on holiday. It feels really good to just listen to my body and let myself relax for the first time in a very long time. So of course we were there on our holidays, so I'm aware that day-to-day working life in a tiny village in Scotland probably does look quite different to what we experienced. However, I can say for certain that the daily coastal walks, the wild swimming, and just, you know, being part of the community for a little bit, people are really, really friendly in this part of Scotland. It was a very restorative time, and I just enjoyed being outside so much more. I had so much more incentive to go outside because I knew I was going to feel peaceful and rested by the seaside without much noise, just enjoying the wildlife, than I would say here in the city where things are a bit noisier. That being said, I will always have a soft spot for the stereotypical Scottish mountains and glens that you often see in the movies. So let me know in the comments, what do you prefer? The dreamy mountains and the misty glens, or the quaint Scottish seaside village? As always, be sure to like the video if you like the video, and if you haven't already, subscribe for simple Scottish lifestyle content. I've got my cup of tea! But until next time, it was lovely to have you here.